What I'm about to tell you is extremely important to me. It represents the worst cultural shift that I've witnessed in this country. And it matters not if you're pro-choice, pro-life, or an agnostic. You must take notice. I'm talking about the legalization of infanticide, or to put it in layman's terms, absolution for the intentional killing of full-term babies. Babies born alive who were then murdered or allowed to die on the mother's say-so. The procedure is described by Virginia Governor Northam, a pediatric neurologist no less, who coldly describes and defends the killing of babies after they are born.
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
Now, he didn't say how, but the meaning is clear. If the mother wants the baby dead, the baby dies. By way of motivation, consider this. Northam received over $2 million from Planned Parenthood. You remember Planned Parenthood in those undercover films where the sale of baby parts is discussed? And you can now add New York State. They now allow third-term abortions where a baby can be delivered full-term, born alive, and then allowed to die or worse. Governor Andrew Cuomo, for the sake of full disclosure, I ran against him for Attorney General in New York State in 2006, openly celebrated this government-sanctioned infanticide by lighting up New York's World Trade Center in pink. You celebrate barbaric homicides where an entire class of helpless human beings born alive are denied equal protection under the Constitution and denied life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? In fact, there's no requirement that the health of the mother even be at risk. You celebrate that innocent, helpless babies enjoy less protection by the lawless left than endangered species like turtles or caterpillars. You celebrate lethal violence against a baby after it's born. Shame on you. What would your father, Governor Mario Cuomo, say if he were alive? And don't give me this hogwash that maybe the baby's deformed. There are so many tests, sonograms, amniocentesis, DNA screening, and so much more long before the 38th week that you would celebrate the ideological justification to take the lives of innocent human beings with no requirement other than the health of the mother, which isn't even defined. It undermines human dignity. But there are already, in addition to New York, 6 states and the District of Columbia that allow these barbaric procedures. Now, I've actually prosecuted infanticide cases where infants are killed intentionally. It's a homicide, folks, not an abortion. Governor Cuomo, are you concerned that the homicide statute remains on the books in New York State and a person is defined as a baby born and born alive, that a prosecutor under Article 125 of New York's penal law can still prosecute a doctor or an attendant for killing a baby? That statute is still on the books, Governor. I don't think you and your left-loving cronies thought that one through. And the irony is, we actually have, get this, no-kill cities where animals will not be euthanized even if they're not adopted. And I've actually prosecuted animal cruelty cases, too, where animals are intentionally killed and they can get a maximum of 2 years in jail. So babies carried in the mother's womb for 9 months and then killed, that's not criminal? And where is the Catholic Church on this? We've got a pope who's more worried about climate change and equal pay for women than attending to his own flock in the Middle East, where genocide against Christians occurs. The Catholic Church has lost enough credibility in the last few years for them to not step up in every pulpit, in every church in this nation, and implore their congregants to recognize the evil being committed. If they don't do this, then they're part of the problem. Tomorrow's Sunday. Listen closely to what your priest says. Hopefully, he will talk about the evil that is occurring under the law across this country. But back to the dingbat governor, Dr. Mengele himself, who tried to justify an unjustifiable infanticide. We now find out that in his medical school yearbook, he thought it was funny to either dress as a Ku Klux Klansman or in blackface. His first response when outed, he called it clearly racist and offensive and said, "I am deeply sorry for the decision I made to appear as I did in this photo." Well, then Dr. Mengele sleeps on it and decides today, wait, it's really not me.
It is definitely not me. I can tell by looking at it.
Are you stupid? Politics 101. If you apologize for something that everyone considers outrageous, and anyone else, by the way, would lose their job over it, then you get up the next day and say, it wasn't me. You either fire your political consultant or change your meds. Are you schizo too? Doc, now, you know someone's going to go out and find your medical school pals who will admit that you were known by a racist nickname so vile I can't repeat it or put it on the screen. And they will be asked if you signed their yearbook. And I'm afraid to think how or where you signed or whether you added on what is already outrageous overt racism. And just so my viewers get a gist of who you are, you admit now that you've dressed in blackface before, so you can moonwalk like Michael Jackson.
You said that the competition in San Antonio was a dance competition?
Yes.
And it was that you danced the moonwalk?
That's right.
Are you still able to moonwalk?
Inappropriate circumstances.
My wife says inappropriate circumstances.
No, Ralph, it's perfectly appropriate for you to do the right thing and moonwalk your butt right out of the governor's mansion. Or better yet, do us all a favor and just beat it. And that's my open. Let me know what you think on my Facebook page, Twitter, #Judge Jeanine.